What is up, everyone? Boshi here, and the Christmas Fusion is live, guys. I'm so excited. We were bamboozled, actually. Wenderin and Grunch are not part of the fusion, so totally got that wrong. I know someone commented on my my video a little while ago about, we're assuming that they're part of the fusion. You're absolutely right. We assumed and we got it wrong. So there are 4 new epic champions to go over. The rares are a little bit interesting. So they actually only added 7 rares for this fusion. So if you go in here, you can see 3 of the 4 champions are the same across the board. The only champion changing is the Void champion rare. So a lot of people are complaining about rares being added into the pool of so many rares already. So they only added 7. So that's some good news. And yeah, and then you can see 4 new epics. So we're going to go through everything kit wise, get a first reaction, because I haven't looked at their kits. I did go look at their visuals. They look pretty dang cool, guys. But yeah, so we'll go through that, and then we'll look at the schedule actually really quick. Before I go into that, though, they did add some other champions, some other epic champions. Now, I probably won't get to them in this video because this video is already going to be long enough, going through pretty much 11 champions worth of kits. But yeah, so we'll just get into that in another video, but let's get into the news real quick. So go into the news, check the Festive Fusion event, and look at the schedule. So this is going to be important. They do note the 4 new fusion epics, and they even talk about the 3 of the 4 rare champions required are the same across all 4 epics, only the 4 champions different. They go into the schedule, so definitely look at this, guys, especially if you're trying to plan ahead. Make sure you have all of your resources in a row. Yeah, pretty much just make sure you're playing out. Now, like normal, all the epics are going to be earned, or can be earned through different events if that's what you're trying to get, like that extra copy to keep. The bad part is, like always, they do take the Void epic and they make him not earnable through anything. So we're definitely going to take a good look at Goldgleam because, we're going to look at, is he worth sacking for Pyxniel? In the end, I think Pyxniel is going to be a unique fusion that's going to be needed later on, or I guess not needed, but it's going to make things a little bit easier later on. But definitely for the low spenders and free-to-play players that are not going exactly for the Pyxniel fusion, but they might go for some of the epics, we're definitely going to take a look and see if he's worth fusing. So, which I think overall, honestly, any Void epic or higher is going to be worth fusing. So yeah, but let's go ahead and jump into the kits real quick because this video is already going to be pretty long. So first up we have Balthus Drauglord. I'm not going to go over Pyxniel, Grunch, or Wenderin, though. We did that in a previous video, so yeah. So Balthus Drauglord looks amazing. I love the double shields. Spirit champion, defensive, and yeah, another undead. I know we have a lot of undead champions, guys, but good base defense, decent speed, but yeah. So A1, attack one enemy has a 50% chance if booked of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Pretty solid. I like decreased attack A1s, can keep it up consistently. A2, Doom Wheels. Attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance if booked of placing a 30% decreased crit rate buff for 2 turns. Not a big fan of decreased crit rate. Can be useful in PvP, might be useful later on in Doom Tower as we climb floors, but just not a big fan of that debuff in general. Can drop that down to 3 turns though, so not bad. A3, Driven to Slaughter. A 4 turn, can book it down to 4 turns. Attack one enemy, has a 100% chance if booked of placing a provoke debuff for 2 turns. Also heals this champion for 20% of their max HP. 2 turn provoke is always nice. I wish it was AoE, but I know there's not a lot. If I think there's like 1 or 2 that have an AoE 2 turn provoke. But yeah, I mean, you can't really ask for that, especially at a 100% chance to apply it if you book them. Can be very good for the dragon in Doom Tower because he can be provoked and you can kind of lock him down. Not bad, not amazing. I'm interested in him just because of I'm curious on how hard he hits, and provoke's never a bad thing to have. And then you have a passive, Enchanted Shields reflects 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker. So works with provoke, works with AoE version, like AoE. He's very War Chief-esque. I know War Chief reflects, I think, 60% of the damage. But yeah, can be decent in PvP, I think. But yeah, I think further up in the Doom Tower, he can kind of become useful. And then his aura is a Faction Crypt's defense aura for 30%. Not a big fan of Faction Crypt auras because it's just such a niche area, but overall, I think he would be really cool. I think he would definitely be useful in Faction Wars, so definitely keep that in mind. Um, I'd definitely look at Fuse. I think he could help even progress through dungeon waves if you're having issues there. Um, Next are going to be two banner lords. So we have Gerhard the Stone, attack based champion, decent attack, 101 speed, very low health, which makes me think he is going to attack and hit hard because usually low attack and high or low HP attack based champions tend to hit pretty hard most of the time. But A1 attack one enemy has a 15% chance or 25% chance of placing a stun if booked. For one turn, has a 50% chance if booked of placing a stun debuff for one turn instead if the target has more than 75% turn meter. Never a bad thing to have CC on A1s. Nothing too great or amazing, but hey, it's an A1. A2, Show of Valor. Can drop it down to 3 turns, places a 30% increased crit rate buff and 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy. Will ignore 25% of the target's defense, will ignore 50% of the target's defense instead if the target is under an increased defense buff. So this is just, yeah, this pretty much is saying he's going to hit like a truck. So you build him with 70% crit, a lot of crit damage. He's already ignoring defense. If they have the buff, ignores some of that in general. Yeah, he's going to hit like a truck is my thought. I'll definitely try to build him out and see though. I don't have crazy gear though, so we'll see how that goes. His passive, immune to fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, and stuns, and has that's on a 3-turn cooldown. Pretty good for PvP, but I mean honestly, he has such low health, he might not survive any of this when it's done to him. So maybe in Doom Tower stuff he can be pretty good. I know the waves are going to get harder as we go up, so being immune to this stuff and being able to hit hard might be a good thing. Then his aura, increase ally resist in Doom Tower by 50%, or by 50, not 50%. That would be crazy. By 50. So I think ally resist is going to be more key in Doom Tower as we climb to get past waves with crazy CC or even boss fights. The higher percentage they have to like freeze and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's going to be kind of key. I don't know if you'll ever put him in that position for the aura, but yeah, very cool champion, hard hitting, just like every banner lord. They always have hard hitting champions like Knight Errant, Septimus, and stuff like that. So not bad. The other champion is Alaric the Hooded. So another attack based champion. Decent speed, higher attack, higher HP than the previous one. So let's see. A1 Red Fury, attack one enemy, has a 50% chance if booked of decreasing the target's turn meter by 7.5%, decreases turn meter by a further 3% for each buff on the target. Kind of cool. Can be useful in times, especially for Doom Tower, getting through some of the waves, attacking specific champions, especially if like you're manualing and you're trying to, you know, get those certain champions not to have a turn. But yeah, otherwise, you know, not a crazy A1, but definitely not a bad thing to be decreasing turn meters. So hey, you know. A2, Demand Chivalry. Attack one enemy, has a 75% chance if booked of removing 2 random debuffs or random buffs from the target before attacking, has a 100% chance if booked of stealing 2 random buffs instead if the target has 4 more buffs. Kind of cool. Calls to me for PvP or Doom Tower floors, not bosses per se. So it can be used Doom Tower floor wise or PvP. But nothing crazy. I mean, you're usually not wanting them to have buffs. You want to usually strip the buffs and stuff. So yeah, nothing crazy, like I said. Crimson Warlord is A3, can drop it down to 4 turns. Attack all enemies, has a 100% chance if booked placing a decreased attack debuff and a 50% decreased accuracy debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. I like the AoE decrease attack, and I also like the 50 or the decreased accuracy. I know we hated on decreased accuracy as like a group, or at least I did for the longest time. It definitely has its uses. I could see this definitely in PvP. As Doom Tower gets higher, the waves decrease accuracy might become a very key thing as well. Some of the bosses have the cannot be resisted clause on their abilities, so the decreased accuracy thing, not so great, but just in general, 50% decreased accuracy is not a bad debuff. So yeah, not a bad kit. Kind of underwhelming because I don't know if he's going to hit extremely hard. He doesn't seem like it. He seems like a more control type Bannerlord. So, I mean, his A1 turn meter could be very useful on boss fights during faction crypts. So, yeah. Oh, and speaking of faction crypts, aura in faction ally attack and faction crypts by 29%. So, yeah, I think that's where he's going to shine is faction crypts, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's about it. Very underwhelming in my opinion compared to the other 2 epics so far. Now the 4th epic is going to be the Dwarf. So this is the Void epic. So let's see if he's worth it. Definitely looks pretty cool. I like the color, red and black and gold. Glowing axe, red eyes, attack based. I was really hoping they were going to be a support-based champion, though. But anyways, let's get into the kit. So A1, Thirsty Axe. Attack one enemy has a 60% chance, if booked, of placing a Leech debuff for 2 turns. Not bad. Another Leech debuff champion. I definitely welcome it. I wish there were more, to be honest. A2, Gold Mad Frenzy. So sacrifice 15 or bleh, sacrifice HP equal to 15% of this champion's max HP, then fills this champion's turn meter by 75% and places a shield buff on this champion equal to 20% of their max HP for 3 turns. The shield cannot be removed. So you're taking 15% of your max HP, you're adding a 5% higher shield on yourself, and you're turning your turn meter to 75%. Which means he's probably going to be attacking pretty often, especially since you can lower this down to a 3-turn cooldown. He does have the clause at the end. The HP sacrifice will happen even if it kills this champion and will ignore shield and block damage. So hopefully he's not at that point where he can kill himself with his ability. But yeah, he is an attack-based champion with pretty low defense. So that's a little unique. At least he adds a shield to himself, I guess, more or less. His A3, Gleam of Avarice. So place a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy. Has a 100% chance, if booked, placing a 25% weaken debuff on the target for 2 turns. Can drop this down to 4 turns, by the way. And then also has a 100% chance, if booked, of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on the target for 2 turns before attacking. So this is pretty cool. Very selfish though, only adding increased attack onto this champion, but it does bring defense, decreased defense, and weaken on the same ability. He'll place decreased defense before he hits, so he'll at least hit harder at that point, and then applying the weaken for all your other allies to benefit as well. So not a bad ability. I wonder how hard this hits though. He is a Void champion, so pretty unique though. Alright, passive Dire Drudge. Decrease the cooldown of this champion's Gleam of Avarice skill by 1 turn every time this champion loses 15% HP. The HP loss is accumulated and tracked over multiple turns, attacks, or hits, and is not affected by healing or other HP. So pretty much if he gets hit very hard, you could drop the cooldown of Gleam of Avarice very quickly. In addition to that, I mean, you're pretty much dropping it by 1 turn every time you do Gold Mad Frenzy, because you're taking 15% of this champion's max HP. I know this is max HP versus just regular HP. But yeah, overall, I think if he can cycle through, I mean, he has decent speed, so if he can cycle through his abilities pretty quickly, Gold Mad Frenzy to do the turn meter, so he's going to attack more often. This can be lowered by him losing health, so very unique kit, to be honest. He's based pretty much on dying, almost. Is he worth summoning? So I think him being a dwarf just in general is worth summoning because we don't have a lot of dwarves. He's the second void dwarf epic, or no, I guess you have three. So we have Fellhammer, not used too often. Everyone kind of knows of Gala Longbraids, so adding him to your roster is definitely not going to be a bad thing. Dwarves need all the help they can get. Like I said, I was hoping for a support dwarf, but yeah, definitely think he's worth going after just because he's a void champion in general, though, guys. So, and then he has an ally attack in Doom Tower by 35%. That's a huge attack boost. It is only for Doom Tower. His kit's not very built for Doom Tower, I feel like, but hey, you know, it might be. The leech is kind of nice though. So I mean, he's gonna have his own self-sustain. You're not gonna even have to put life steal on him. If he places the leech and he's hitting things, like he's just gonna self-sustain himself to use his kit over and over and over. So definitely worth going after, guys. I think that's just my opinion though. So let's go ahead and jump into the rares real quick, guys. I know this video is going to be semi-long, but hey, we got to get through all these champions. This isn't even all the champions being added. So we have a Bannerlord by the name of Dagger. So attack-based champion. What a surprise, Bannerlord's attack-based. Anyways, decent attack. This actually has almost higher attack than one of the epics. Low defense, low health. Actually very comparable to this guy. Had higher health, a little bit lower attack and lower defense, but not bad for a rare. Yeah. Anyways, A1 double daggers. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each critical hit decreases the target's turn meter by 4%. So it can drop a turn meter by 8% in total. Yeah, not bad, especially for a rare. So A2 precision sabotage. Attack all enemies has a 50% chance or 75% chance at booked of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff. Alright, so we have a rare dropping the big decreased defense on all allies. So this reminds me very much of War Maiden. So that's really cool, and it's going to be on a 3-turn cooldown. So not 100% chance, but still, that's huge, guys. Looking like a good rare. A3 Sword Break Knife. Attack one enemy has a 75% chance if booked of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff instead if the target's under decreased defense. So decreased attack and defense in the same kit. So that's actually pretty huge. War Maiden does not do that. Actually, let's go ahead and look at War Maiden real quick. So War Maiden, because I'm not very familiar exactly with what her kit says. So she has a poison on A1. Her A2's increased attack on this champion, so So this is 100% chance to do the big decreased defense. So you are losing the decreased defense 100% chance, but you're still getting a 75% chance off of what Dagger is saying, and you're bringing a drop attack as well. So yeah, they had to balance this out by pretty much making it not 100%. But overall, guys, this is definitely a rare to look out for, especially for like the secret rooms when it's like attack-based rare. This could be really big, and she actually looks pretty cool. She looks like an assassin. So, yeah. And then you have ally attack and faction crypts by 20%. Nothing big there, but yeah, very good rare. She actually even has a decent speed. So yeah, definitely look out for Dagger when summoning voids. Then we have Tigersoul, a barbarian. That's a different new champion I'll go over later. Tigersoul, Soul Bower-esque. Looks exactly like her. Scorpion tips. Attack one enemy has a 60% chance of placing a 5% poison for 2 turns. Nothing bad about adding a poison with an A1. A2 wearing tactics. Gosh. Attack one enemy has a 100% chance of placing a 15% weaken if booked for 2 turns. And not amazing. I mean, very single target. Sorry, guys. So yeah, nothing special. Tiger Strength places a block debuff buff and a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns. And you can drop that down to 3 turns. So very, very selfish. Not a big fan of this champion, to be honest. I don't like all single target. Um, and this only applies to this champion. So yeah, definitely not looking to get that. It is a rare though, so it's whatever. Next two are going to be Ogren. So we have Ruffstone, attack based, force champion, decent attack, decent speed. Attack all enemies. It's very simple. A1 makes him a candidate for a stun set, guys. Just keep that in mind. A2, attack one enemy, decrease the target's max HP by 15% of the damage inflicted. Decrease max HP. So there aren't many champions that do this. We've kind of found that out when doing Doom Tower with the Scarab boss. There's not a lot of people that just do a max HP. A lot of people have gone to, hey, let's go throw a nuker into a destroy set. So if you want to go that route, you can, but honestly, this isn't a bad candidate. And then you have a A3, Slobbering Rush. Attack one enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn if this attack is critical. So you're going to want to build him with 100% crit. And you can drop this down to 3 turns. Definitely not horrible. I mean, I don't know. Maybe faction crypts, stun targets. The max HP thing can be used for Scarab boss. But I think you can find better people, or it might just be worth farming out a destroy set, to be honest. So nothing big there. The Void Ogren guy. So we have an HP based champion. He is the Void rare. Attack one enemy, places a 7.5% continuous heal buff on this champion for 1 turn if this is critical. You know, I don't like the whole selfish healing champions, but it's whatever. Healing Splatter can drop this down to 3 turns. Heal all allies by 15% of their max HP, which goes up to what, 35%? This is actually pretty cool. 3 turn, just straight up heal all allies. Actually, very much like that. So that's pretty cool. It revives a dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter, and that goes down to 5 turns. Honestly, not a bad rare, especially for Ogren if you're needing help in faction crypts, exactly where he's going to be needed. So yeah, not bad. Might be good in faction, but that's about it, guys, I think. But decent support champion, to be honest. So let's go over to Skinwalkers. So Skinwalkers, we have Panthera. So Panthera is the Void rare. Attack-based champion, decent speed. Yeah, actually, not bad stats on all these rare guys. Claws upon claws. Attack one enemy 3 times. Each critical hit has a 50% chance or a 75% chance, if booked, of decrease in turn meter by 3%. So you can do a total of 9%. Nothing amazing. Odd turn meter champions that they've added. But 3 turns automatically on A1 automatically makes a Fire Knight champion if you're struggling in that department. A2, Devitalize. Attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 100% chance if booked of placing a heal reduction. Not a big fan of heal reduction, but I know it is needed. Fire Knight, once again, like I said, even Nether Spider heals a little bit. So actually, she does make actually a decent Fire Knight. 3 times there, 2-time attack there. Her A3 places a perfect veil buff and a 30% reflect damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. I don't get the combination here, and it's a 3-turn cooldown. So perfect veil hides her from being attacked, but then I guess she can reflect damage any of the AoE attacks that hit her. A very weird, weird kit. But once again, reflect damage on Fire Knight does add that extra hit, so I guess she's there. So I mean, really a rare Fire Knight specialist. So that's kind of cool. And then ally accuracy in dungeons by 40. Could be very useful at the lower ends of Fire Knight as you're climbing up. So I'm not going to say she's a bad rare, but nothing crazy. But pretty decent. Let's just say that. Then we have an orc by the name of Pigsticker. Which looks like Wyvern Bane 2.0, just different colors. Attack-based champion, again. A1, Vile Substance. Attack one enemy has a 75% chance if booked of placing a 50% heal reduction. I don't like heal reduction, and not even doing the strong version. I mean, it's on her A1, I guess. So A2 Heartless Curse. Attack one enemy, decrease the target's max HP by 20% of the damage inflicted. I can drop that down to 3 turns. Another decreased max HP. Can be useful on Scarab Boss and Doom Tower if you're looking and you're very much struggling. But like I said, Destroy Set is a very good option, guys. So don't be looking like you have to level some of these rares that you're seeing with max HP abilities. It does help if like you stack them with a Destroy Set, but I think you have better options out there. Septic Spearhead is her A3. You can drop it down to 3 turns. Attack one enemy 2 times. Decrease target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted. Another max HP. So she has 2 max HPs and a heal reduction. The only place I feel like she's going to be useful is the Scarab Boss. I don't think she's going to be useful anywhere else. She could be kind of unique though in that sense. So I mean, if I get my hands on her and I have the extra resources, maybe I'll gear her out and try her. With the ally attack and Doom Tower by 21%. So could be cool. I mean, she has a decent attack, so she might actually hit decently hard. But we'll see. And then the last rare we're going to talk about for the fusion is another dwarf, actually, and it was Kurzad Deepheart. So looks like Painsmith 2.0. Attack-based champion. Yeah. So A1, attack one enemy, places an extra hit if this attack is critical. The extra hit places a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. I like decreased speed debuffs, especially on A1s. Overall, not a bad A1. It's always nice to have decreased speed on boss fights, especially. You're just going to get those extra turns before they take their big ability turns, so not bad. A2, attack all enemies. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 7.5%. This could be cool on waves. I'm guessing he hits semi-hard, but I mean, that's all he's bringing is just damage, so nothing too crazy. And then you have his A3, place a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies. Has a 100% chance, if booked, of placing a 30% decreased defense. So it brings the low defense. It would have been so cool if he brought the big defense, but increased accuracy buff, that's kind of cool. I don't know. He's very underwhelming, I feel like, but kind of could be cool. Could be cool. I'm not gonna say he's bad, but it doesn't bring anything like crazy to the party. Like, he has a decreased speed, which is nice, but you would prefer a big decreased defense and the increased accuracy. You should be hitting those accuracy thresholds anyway, so yeah. Overall, those are the rares and the epics though, guys. I already made this video very long, so I apologize for that. I'm not going to go through all the other champions that were added. I'll make another video on that. But overall, do I think this all these are worth getting? I definitely would look into everyone. Obviously, they're nothing game changing, especially like the Void epic. But is a Void epic, right? So he's going to be harder to get later on. So if you're not looking at doing the Pyxniel Fusion as a whole, definitely look at getting him. The other ones are definitely worth looking at. I think the Drauglord guy is going to probably be the most useful one out of all of them. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's what I wanted to do for this video. I'm sorry it's so long, but there's just a lot to go through. I'm gonna go ahead and start making the other video on the other champions that were added. But yeah, I hope you guys found this interesting. Let me know down below if you guys are going for the fusions, like Pyxniel as a whole, or if you're just going to be going for some of these epic champions. And let me know what you think of these rares. The rares actually didn't seem that bad. A lot of them actually seem pretty useful. So them adding useful rares to the pool, I am definitely a fan of. So yeah, but yeah, let me know, and I will see you guys in my next video. See ya.